Yo, what
Sorry,
up?
I'm late.
Oh man, you can't be late.
Why?
Cause they gave us a show.
So you heard the latest Karen news, right?
Oh God, something new.
Oh, get ready.
Yo, that literally is what goes through my head anytime I see a white woman over the age of 15.
You know, I feel like that's what needs to beep in the Whole Foods line when you check out your food. Like instead of the beep, it's like Karen. Karen.
Hey, Internet!
First of all, who says hey, Internet?
The internet is not a person.
No, she probably call her grandson up and be like, can you show me how to use the World Wide Web?
This man and his Doberman just attacked me and my Chihuahua.
It's not a Doberman.
Yo, in her mind, she probably scales all shit up like this.
No, that dog is like, was you talking to me?
Yo, that dog is like, yeah, son, about the time I got some respect around here.
What are you doing?
He just bit me!
No, he didn't.
See, that's what happens when you weaponize white women.
Oh, you know there was a black dude like a mile away that heard that shit and was like, I'm out.
Was that dog black?
Oh, I think so. Didn't you see him taking off running at the end? I think so.
So you know we're sending kids back to school, right?
No.
Yeah. Education Secretary Betsy DeVos said, fuck science, this is America.
You said this week, quote, that there's nothing in the data that suggests it would not be appropriate to have kids in school. So I want to take a look at that data.
Yo, she looking at her like, bitch, what you doing? We had a deal.
Yo, she probably like texting like, yeah, pull that data, see what happened. Your cat mittens.
No, I do love me some Karen on Karen violence.
Yo, that's my favorite shit to watch. It's like
entertaining.
It's the 2020 WorldStar.
Yes or no? Can you assure students, teachers, parents that they will not get coronavirus because they're going back to school?
Well, the key is that kids have to get back to school.
She did not answer that question.
Oh, that's a very good question. Yes, I would like some ice cream.
Do you have a plan
But
for what students and what schools should do?
So,
No, I don't have a plan.
Oh my God. You know what's funny about her though?
What?
She has no experience in education.
Okay.
Never attended a public school.
Okay.
Kids never attended a public school. And so, you know, Donald Trump was like, hey, you know what you be good at?
Education.
Schools.
schools should do what's right on the ground at that time for their students and for their situation. There is no one uniform approach that we can take or should take nationwide.
So her plan is no plan?
Apparently. She be calling up the schools like, hey, y'all on your own now.
I just realized that Betsy DeVos looks like one of the guests in that garden party at Get Out.
No. She looked like every TikToker's mom in them TikTok videos with their kids. So the CEO of Goya made a shocking endorsement of current President Donald Trump.
Oh, God.
I know. Goya.
We're all truly blessed at the same time to have a leader like President Trump who is a builder.
Fam, you know what the most fucked up part about all this is? Like, I love Goya beans.
Right?
Yo.
That's the best.
Yo, first we canceled Uncle Ben's, now we canceling Goya. If we can't have beans and rice, fuck it, ain't no need for ice no more. Motherfuckers just gonna leave on their own, talking about something, hey, I'm out.
And that's what my grandfather did. He came to this country to build, to grow, to prosper.
Might build a wall, but that's about it.
Yo, see, I never understood it until now when people say like, oh, you forgot where you came from. This motherfucker literally forgot where he came from.
Oh, he won't have to forget. Trump will just send his ass like right back as soon as he get out of
Yo.
Leading the news, a can of beans could open up a whole can of worms for Ivanka Trump.
Yo, corniest line ever. They were just Googling can of bean jokes. Like, what?
critics raised ethics concerns after the president's daughter and senior advisor seemingly endorsed Goya beans on Twitter. The move comes a week after the company's CEO praised Mr. Trump at a White House event.
Yo, that can of beans is the closest she's came to being around a Latino since her nanny.
Why she hold it like a Price is Right girl? Like, what's
This looks like one of those confusing ads you see on TV and you be looking like, why'd they get a white person to play this?
In last night's tweet, she's holding a can of black beans with the tagline, "If it's Goya, it has to be good," in both English and Spanish.
Yo, the funniest thing, this is probably the hardest she's worked since being in the White House.
Probably. She probably put the can down like, my bicep.
So Will and Jada finally addressed the August Alsina rumors.
Woo! It only took them a week.
Right, and Will was not for the shits.
Yeah, we basically, we broke up.
And then what did you do, Jada?
Yo!
That's that shit your mom say to you when she know exactly what you did, but she wants you to say it.
Yo, like when she call you home and shit, she be like, oh, so how was school today?
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
That's gonna be the new relationship status. It's gonna be single, relationship, entanglement. Imagine being saved in someone's phone under entanglement.
Yo, imagine being saved as entanglement 3.
Oh no.
I just wanted to feel good. Mm-hmm. It had been so long since I felt good.
No, I know I'd be goddamned if my man was sitting across from me telling me about his side piece, sitting crisscross applesauce, just chilling, all cool.
Yo, you know what's fucked up though? They gonna replace Will's face with this like new crying Jordan meme.
Oh no. Dude, I haven't seen Will this sad since In the Pursuit of Happiness.
Yo!
You know, if you expect to be with somebody for a lifetime.
25 years and counting.
We ride together.
We die together.
Bad marriage for life.
Was this the announcement for Bad Boys 4? What's going on?
Yo, I don't think Martin Lawrence is gonna join this version of the movie.
No, I don't like the premise. I don't think that this should be the model for marriage. You know what I was thinking about the other day? What? Reparations. Or what Fox News would call it.
Bullshit.
But it's not just Fox News. Studies show that only 15% of white Americans support the idea. And I get it. Kinda. There's a lot of misconceptions about reparations, and honestly, a lot of confusion. So today, I'm gonna outline exactly what it is, why black people should receive it, what it would look like, and the big question everyone has, who's gonna pay for it? Let's start with the what. Reparations are just a compensation for historical crimes with the aim of remedying the injustices. It allows the victims to get back on their feet and be reborn. And guess what? We've already done it. 6 times. West Germany gave Israel $6 billion to say sorry for the Holocaust. South Africa compensated victims of apartheid $85 million. Here in America, we gave Japanese Americans what would be equal to $6.4 billion for holding them in internment camps during World War II. North Carolina set up a $10 million fund for practicing forced sterilization on poor black women through the 1970s, which, for the record, is not nearly enough. But I'll get into that another day. And let's not forget the restitution given to the families of the Tuskegee experiments and the 11 survivors of the Rosewood race riots in 1924. Now, when the idea of giving reparations to black Americans is brought up, it's always met with,
My great-great-grandfather, he fought with the Union Army. Do I get a discount?
It is the party of reparations. Presidential candidates say Americans should be rewarded or punished based on their skin color.
Black Americans don't just want reparations for the nearly 300 years we were worked to literal death building this country. We want reparations for the policies that came after. Jim Crow, redlining, the destruction of Black Wall Street, mass incarceration, the refusal of loans for housing. Policies that didn't allow white people to sell their homes to black families. That's what we want reparations for. You see, when slavery ended, Black people weren't left to their own devices. They were terrorized. Legislators, mayors, civic associations, banks, and citizens all colluded to pin Black people into ghettos that were overcrowded, overcharged, and undereducated. Businesses gave us the worst jobs with the worst wages. And police continue to brutalize us in the streets to this day. It's as if we finally paid off a credit card we didn't want, and then America promises we won't be charged anymore. But that balance is still there. And every day, we're incurring interest from all around us. Institutionalized discrimination has hindered Black Americans' economic development for decades. And that's why Black and white economic divide is as wide as it was in 1968. Back then, a typical middle-class Black household had $6,600 in wealth, compared to $71,000 for a white family. And in 2016, middle-class Black families had about $13,000 in wealth versus white middle-class families with $150,000. Now I know what you're thinking.
Who pays for the reparations?
The same people that created the problem, the government. We spent $719 billion last year alone on the military, $80 billion a year on prisons. The war on drugs has cost us over $1 trillion since 1971. It doesn't even have to come in the form of a check. In fact, I don't even think just throwing cash at the problem is a permanent solution. You have to tackle it at the root. We need Black-oriented policies focusing on funding Black education, healthcare, and asset building. How about tax credits for low-income Black families? A financial program to eliminate high school and college tuition? Congress could create grants to help African Americans buy houses or put aside dollars for reinvestment in our neighborhoods. We shouldn't have to leave the hood to make it. We should be able to stay and fix it with the appropriate tools. So I say, to every candidate running for office, all my non-Black brothers and sisters out there protesting, and every company that is profiting on this movement, if Black lives really matter, prove it. Put your money where your mouth is.
We like to welcome our special guest, writer, producer of many of your favorite shows and movies on HBO, Hulu, Showtime, and Netflix. Everyone, please welcome Jordan Chris.
Jordan, welcome.
Yeah, man.
Welcome. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, no problem.
So we've been talking about some heavy stuff today, and we want to get your take. I want to get your opinion on reparations.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of conflicting opinion. There's been a lot of, we should do it like this, we should do it like that, or hey, we shouldn't do it at all.
Right.
So what is your take on it?
So yeah, it's definitely a heavy subject, and it's very, a lot of people say it's, divisive and things like that. But I think it's definitely something this country should look at seriously and realistically and think, because Black Americans have went through a lot in this country. We've been put through a lot, you know what I mean? And it hasn't ended even today. So I think to make America, make America great again, like they want to say.
Actually great again.
Right, actually great for the first time.
For the first time, yeah.
But it would go a long way, and it's something I think that's way overdue. Mm-hmm. And you've seen other, cultures like, Jewish people after the Holocaust, they had their thing. Even the Japanese had it after being put in their internment camps. So it's kind of like, why not? But, people ask, where is the money going to come from and how are they going to roll it out? And, when you start digging in people's pockets, they're like, nah, I'm not paying for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're going to get backlash, and then you got, the people who just don't want to see people of our skin tone do well, so of course they're not going to be a part of it. So it sucks it's come to that, but it's definitely something this country needs to look at, and I think it should happen.
So how would you like to see a system like that implemented? There are a lot of different conversations, individual checks, programs, things like that. How would you like to see it implemented?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd all like to get a nice check in the bank, or a couple $1,000. I'm going on a trip, something. But really though, it's I feel like focusing on educations and bringing up these these communities that, have been struggling for the past couple of decades, like Chicago being a big one.
Yeah.
And I feel like focusing on the schools and on our youth would probably be the best way that we can implement that. And, I'm not the smartest person when it comes to economics and things like that, so I don't know logistically how it would work, but something where you can separate, people thinking they're just giving money to the individual, because then they're going to say, well, how do you know they're going to spend it the right way, or so,
Exactly.
that BS that they're going to put out. So if you focus on the schools and stuff and like bettering the future, I think that's like the best way to go about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think that investing back into communities is not only probably a more effective way, but it's gonna rub people, it's not gonna rub people the wrong way.
Right.
And not as much as, giving out a bunch of checks, so
Right.
no, I agree.
So, what do you say to people that might say, no, like, we shouldn't institute a situation like reparations? Like, what would your response be to that?
Initially, I'd want to be like, well, why not? Like what's your reason for not? But you don't want to answer a question with a question.
Okay.
So it's, I look at them and say everything that Black Americans have done for this country, whether we want it to or not, we do. There has to be something done for us. Like we've been, put down since the beginning of America. So why can't we come up? Why can't we be all on the same playing field? At this point, and it's kind of old. It's like it's owed to us, we put this country on our back, so it's about time.
All right. So now here's a question then. Okay, so you are a person that works a lot in Hollywood. You work behind a lot of productions, right? So we were having this conversation because I think what you're seeing a lot is what I like to call like fake diversity. And when I say fake diversity, you're seeing voice actors being swapped out. You're seeing cartoon characters being moved over. An episode of Golden Girls, because they have a mud mask, is being removed. And you're seeing a lot of that stuff that companies are doing to say like, oh look, we're like woke. But
we're taking steps.
Yeah, we're taking steps. But,
we're taking the necessary steps.
But do you feel like
fix
those are
this problem?
Do you feel those are the right steps? Or do you think that is just kind of like in my opinion, like I think that's a bullshit step.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like that's a right step, or do you think there's another step that Hollywood can make a little bit more?
I think it's better than nothing, in one way that you can look at it if I'm, trying to be positive on it.
Right.
But realistically, it is one of those things where it's like, I think they're missing the point, of these movements and stuff, and like Black Lives Matter, people speaking up, and these, companies and production companies wanting to show diversity and things like that. I think they're missing the mark on some of these things. It's like, no, that's not what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And so, it's good that the conversations are being had and these companies are trying to make change. But taking out an episode of Golden Girls, like it was already out. That's not really fixing nothing. We need to change things moving forward. You know what I mean? We need to get more Black actors, in it, more voice actors or people of color in general. Honestly,
more opportunities in those fields.
Right. Because it's nice and all, and I guess it's like, okay, cool, like whatever. You know what I mean? That's kind of how you look at it. Like, okay, great, but you're missing the point.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what we were saying, because I think it really goes into empowering more creators, right? Like, I think when you start empowering more creators, you start bringing in more stories, and I think that's the way Hollywood could really start introducing diversity into content, right? Because I think content now more than ever is powerful, and it impacts more than just the culture it's aimed at.
Right.
So when you have content that is good, you can have a narrative. Like one of my favorite shows is Rami. Rami's not aimed at me, but it's
Great show.
It depicts a community, and the storytelling is so great, and I'm learning a lot about that culture through the way they're telling that narrative. And I think that is a way that Hollywood can start, really showing diversity. And I think that things like that are all a system of reparations, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that, the pinnacle of reparations is through, hey, let's start, giving more roles and shows, to creators. But I'm saying that, perhaps that is a step to, I think, a larger part of healing, I think, for America.
Right. Yeah. I'll definitely take that step. I wouldn't take it in a form of reparation to be like, here's a TV show now, leave me alone. we did everything. But no, I definitely agree. I think representation is extremely important. I'm sure you're saying, Rami, I love shows that depict other cultures, other people's orientations, and you learn so much. And if that programming was not out there, there's so many people that they wouldn't have the slightest idea of the lives that these people live and the challenges that they face. So I definitely think that that's definitely an important aspect of it, for sure.
Right. There's so many voices that haven't been heard, you know what I mean, and for no reason. So it's important to get, tell those stories, tell these Black stories, or like Rami's case, the Muslim stories and stuff like that. And it normalizes it for people who are unfamiliar, because how big this country is. You can go your entire life and never meet someone who looks different from you. So then if you can turn on the TV and be in the house, in the family, and see, this Muslim man or this Black man or woman or whatever, going through their struggles and telling their stories, it doesn't make it seem like it's such a foreign concept or like such a scary thing. Yeah.
And you see that they deal with the same types of things that we deal with, and it's it's just a different perspective. Yeah.
Yo, man. Well, look, hey, we appreciate you joining us, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Hope you come back.
I will.
Visit us sometime.
Yo, everybody, that was Jordan Chris.